Okay, students, please settle down. Okay, before proceeding to our lesson, can anybody lead the prayer? Okay, Sir Notail, please lead the prayer. Yeah, the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. With the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you for the wonderful prayer, Mr. Notail. Okay, class, good morning. How's your weekend? Good. Okay, good. Before we start, I prepared a energizer for us to energize our body before we proceed to our lesson. Okay, we should start. Please all stand up. Please cooperate for you to be able to cope up with my lesson. Shut down the lights first. Okay, that's enough. Okay, students, settle down. Mr. Secretary, please list down who are absent and give me the list after my class. Our rules in our classroom is listen carefully, no extra movement, if ever, and if ever, thank you for participating in my energizer, and please avoid being noisy, and then avoid absent for you to be able to cope up in my lesson. That's all. Okay, class. Our new topic for today is all about eclipses. So, does anybody know about eclipses? Okay, Mr. Someo, what is eclipses? Okay, thank you. How about teams? Okay, thank you. So male and teams, thank you for the answer, and that was correct. Let's turn off the lights first. So what is eclipse? Eclipse occurs anytime something passes in front of the sun, blocking its light. So, in eclipses, there are two types of eclipses, the lunar and solar eclipse. Lunar eclipse when the Earth casts a shadow on the moon, causing the moon to go dark. Earth comes between the sun and the moon and casts a shadow on the moon. So, Mr. Armel, please explain what is lunar eclipse. Okay, thank you. And the other one is solar eclipse. When the moon casts a shadow on the earth, causing the sun to go dark. The moon comes between the sun and earth and casts a shadow on part of the earth to the new moon. So, thank you for the right answer, Sir Armel. I've prepared a short video for our related to our topics for today. Just wait for a minute. And here we are. Turn off the light first. Turn off the lights so that we can able to see my video presentation. Class, please listen carefully and watch the video carefully.
A solar eclipse happens when a new moon moves between the Earth and the Sun, blocking some or all of the Sun's rays from reaching the Earth. By cosmic chance, even though the Sun is 400 times wider than the Moon, it's also 400 times farther away. Therefore, the two objects appear the same size in our sky. Astronomers are able to predict eclipses because the Earth and Moon have very predictable orbits. Why then isn't there an eclipse every month? The Moon's orbit is usually tilted a few degrees north or south in relation to the Earth. When the Moon does eclipse the Sun, it casts two types of shadows on Earth. A smaller, darker shadow known as the umbra, and a larger shadow known as the penumbra. There are four types of solar eclipses. The first and most spectacular is a total eclipse, when the moon completely covers the sun's surface. A total eclipse can only be seen if you're standing within the umbral shadow. That's why the imaginary line created by this shadow as it races across Earth is known as the path of totality. People within the penumbral shadow see only a partial eclipse, the second type. From this view, outside the path of totality, the moon passes in front of the sun off-center, never fully covering its surface. Third, an annular eclipse occurs when the moon passes directly in front of the sun. However, unlike a total eclipse, the moon appears too small to fully cover the sun. The moon's orbit is elliptical, so sometimes it's closer to Earth and sometimes it's farther away. Last, a hybrid eclipse is when the moon's position between the Earth and Sun is so finely balanced that the curvature of the Earth plays a role. The moon will be farther away from some parts of Earth along the eclipse's path, resulting in an annular eclipse. In other parts, the moon will be just close enough to fully cover the sun, resulting in a total eclipse. While a total solar eclipse happens somewhere on Earth every year or two, any given point on Earth experiences the event only about once every 400 years. We interrupt this video for an important safety announcement. Looking directly at the sun, even during an eclipse, can cause permanent eye damage. Fortunately, there are ways to enjoy an eclipse safely. The easiest is to use certified eclipse-watching glasses, which are shaded thousands of times darker than typical sunglasses. You can also look at the eclipse indirectly by making a pinhole viewer. Simply poke a small hole in a piece of cardboard. Hold the cardboard up to the sun, allowing the sun's image to be projected onto a flat surface. Be sure to look only at the surface and not through the cardboard. Just before the moon completely covers the sun, low-lying valleys on the moon's edge will be the only spots that sunlight continues to pass through. These remaining brilliant shafts of light, known as Bailey's beads, will disappear one after another. And finally, a single bead of light remains, known as the diamond ring, signaling that you're just seconds away from experiencing totality. Once the last bead disappears and the moon completely covers the sun's surface, the view through your eclipse glasses will be pitch black. Totality achieved. At this point, none of the sun's rays are reaching your eyes, and it's the only time that it's safe to take off your glasses. Remember to put your eclipse glasses back on before any of the sun's rays start to peek through again. Any sunlight reaching your eyes, even for a few seconds, can cause serious damage. While an eclipse can last a few hours, totality typically occurs for less than 3 minutes. Animals and plants have also been known to alter their behavior during a total eclipse. Songbirds may stop singing, crickets may start chirping, and flowers may even start to close up. We won't always be able to see total solar eclipses. The moon moves about 1.5 inches away from Earth each year. It's estimated that in about 1 billion years, the moon will be too far away from Earth to completely cover the sun.
Okay, that is the video. As you can see there in the video, students, there are 2 types of shadow that occurs that happen during eclipses. That is the students. That is the umbra and the penumbra. The dark inner portion of the shadow cone, or as you can see here, is the umbra, and then the penumbra, the lighter outer portion of the shadow, is here. That is what we call penumbra. Okay, let's turn on the lights first. Okay, class, we'll have a short activity. This row will be the group 1, and then this row will be the group 2. This activity will be called recitation. This is my made up activity, so please bear with me. So this activity is when I ask you some question, the first group who can answer will have a 1 point. The group who have a more points will be the winner. Okay. Question number 1. Occurs anytime something passes in front of the sun, blocking its light. This can be the Earth or be the moon. Okay, group 1. Correct. Group 1 have now a 1 point. Give me one type of eclipse. Okay, group 2. Good. Correct. Next question. 1-1. It's even now. When the moon casts a shadow on the earth, causing the sun to go dark. Remember, when the moon casts a shadow. Just like what I said in my presentation earlier. So what is the answer? 1. Good. Solar eclipse. Good. That's correct. 2-1. Next question. Give me a type of shadow found during the eclipse. 1. Umbra. That's correct. That's correct. So, give me the explanation of umbra. 2. That's correct. Down to 3 to 2. Okay, last question. When the earth casts a shadow on the moon, causing the moon to go dark. Remember, the earth casts the shadow. 3, 2, group 2. It's correct. Lunar eclipse. It's a tie. Good, good. Okay, class. Let's proceed to our presentation. Let's go back to our presentation. Turn off the lights first. Okay. Second. Okay. There are three types of lunar eclipse. One is the total lunar eclipse, when the moon passes completely into the umbra, or total shadow of the earth, just like in the video. Number two is the partial lunar eclipse, occur when the moon does not fully move into the umbra. Number three, the penumbral lunar eclipse, when the moon passes only through the penumbra, or partial shadow. They are barely visible. So what is total lunar eclipse? Okay, Miracle. Please explain it to me. Okay, good. That's correct. When the total lunar eclipse, when the moon passes completely into the umbra or total shadow of the earth. It will call a total lunar eclipse if the moon cover the sun completely. Okay, next is the partial lunar eclipse. This is example. Partial lunar eclipse occurs when the moon does not fully move into the umbra. Just like in the video earlier, it does not cover all the sun, or it does not go into the umbra shadow fully. So next is the penumbral lunar eclipse. When the moon passes only through the penumbra or partial shadow, they are barely visible. So as you can see, the moon is only got darkened. Not so dark. It's barely visible. Okay, let's move now to the types of solar eclipse. There are three types of solar eclipse. First is the total solar eclipse. Can only occur if you are at the exact spot within the moon's umbra, which isn't very big. Next, the second is partial solar eclipse. Visible is if you are in the penumbra of the shadow, only some of the moon will be shadowed. Third is the annular eclipse. Occurs when the moon is farthest from the earth in its orbit. This makes the moon look smaller during the eclipse. You see in the outer ring of the light from the sun. Oh, I have a correction earlier that I've said, class. The total lunar eclipse is actually when the moon is into the umbra shadow, or at the back of the earth, and the earth is in the middle of the moon and sun. Hi, bad students. Okay, let's proceed to solar eclipse. How about the solar eclipse is that the moon is in between of the sun and the earth. Okay? What is total solar eclipse? Can only occur if you are at the exact spot within the moon's umbra, which isn't very big. Yeah, so the moon's umbra. Next is the partial solar eclipse. Visible if you are in the penumbra of the shadow, only some of the moon will be shadowed. So this is the example of the partial solar eclipse, when the moon is not in the middle of umbra shadow, or it's in the some of the part of the moon is in the penumbra shadow. So third one is the annular eclipse. Occurs when the moon is farthest from the earth in its orbit. This makes the moon look smaller. So during the eclipse, you see an outer ring of the light from the sun. So in this picture, the moon is farther from the earth's orbit. So as you can see, the moon is smaller than the sun, so the all the sun's bright will cannot be covered by the moon. Okay. Okay, I have a question. What are the 3 types of lunar eclipse? Who can answer? Okay, Gabi. Okay, Mr. Gabi, please stand up. Okay, that's correct. We have a 3 parts of lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is that the 3 parts is of lunar eclipse is the total lunar eclipse, partial lunar eclipse, and then penumbral lunar eclipse. Okay. So, okay class, I have a second question. Can you give me the 2 types of eclipses? If you listen carefully, you can answer my question. Anybody? Okay, let's turn for that first. Anybody? Dandy. Okay, that is correct. Okay, I see you are all prepared for our short quiz. Please prepare your 1/2 sheet of bond paper. This quiz is an essay type of quiz. Okay, I only have 3 questions. Okay, are you ready? For 1, what are eclipses? Number 2, what is lunar eclipse? Number 3, what is solar eclipse? You only have 20 minutes to answer. Okay, time's up. Please pass your paper forward. Before we end our topic for today, our lesson, I have a short... Oh, or do you have any questions about my topic or about our lessons for today? Okay. Yes, Mira. So your question is, how often the eclipse happen? Well, that depends. Lunar eclipse happen more often than solar eclipses. Why? Well, everyone who is experiencing nighttime during a lunar eclipse can see it. But you have to be at the exact spot on Earth to see a solar eclipses. The spot on Earth is so small that the same place only sees a solar eclipse every 350 years. Just like in the video that you have watched. That you can see it if you are in the exact place or exact area. So another question. Another question? Anybody else? Okay, I'll pick one student that answer my question. Okay, Riha. What is your question? Anything. I see. So your question is, why don't we see lunar eclipses? So why don't we see lunar eclipse more often? So the answer is, well, lunar eclipses don't happen every day because the moon's orbit is tilted. So during most months, the moon is above or below the earth, just like in the video. The moon circles from the up and then bottom, above, bottom, and then middle. Yeah, sometimes you can see it, but not every day. Okay, so in eclipse seasons, there is one season that is called Zizoji. Okay, everyone, say Zizoji. That is the correct pronunciation, not ZGG, not ZGG. It's Zizaji. No, it's Zizoji. Okay. The times where the moon and the earth and the sun line up perfectly for an eclipse. Okay, that's our top lesson for today. Before we end our class, I have a assignment for you. My assignment is, your assignment for today is draw two types of eclipses, the solar and lunar eclipse. Okay class, that's it for today. Thank you for listening.